For Q&A, well, let's, give it like 5, 10 minutes, guys, for Q&A, and then we'll call it a day. What are some questions you guys have?
How many contacts are in your phone?
Oh my God.
6,000?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said every day I send text.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you don't use a CRM?
I like to get personal. So I tried Zillow and I tried other stuff. What takes away from that for me right now, right? It eventually will get to that point when I am more, I think that I'm still learning. Even though I have 7 years, every day I learn. Every day you learn from one transaction. So I'm enjoying the grasp of everything. The commitment between one another. It's like a marriage, right? The relationships that I built and I then let go and I'm like, oh, I miss you. And then I just text. Those are, like I just texted this morning a client that bought a condo with me in Bluefield. I'm like, I miss you. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
So I don't usually have an issue brokering clients to use our team of inspector, lender, and attorney, but I have this one client who decided to get her own attorney, and I guess the attorney has brought it into her head that I'm out to get her. I'm a dual agent. It's not my listing. It's not my house. So he's like, the deal's literally stopped in attorney review. We have not moved, and she keeps having conversations with the lender who is like in our team. I don't want to work with this girl. She's a dual agent, but she won't tell me any of that. So I've had a conversation already, like, hey, listen, if there's anything you feel like I'm not doing well for you or anything that I could do better, like, let me know. She's like, no, I love you, I want to work with you. And then that same afternoon, she'll call Mike and she'll be like, do I need to work with this girl? So I don't really know, like, I really almost want to be like, you know what, like, kill it now while we can, because I feel like this attorney is out, like, to kill the deal as it is.
So there's 2 ways that you could do it. So I'm doing something like that right now. Well, we're not in attorney review, right? We're literally in pause. But we already did inspection and appraisal.
Really?
Yeah, so in New York, you don't have to do attorney review. In New York, you do inspection and appraisal before you get in contract. And for most of the investors that you meet, at the beginning, I was like, what the heck is that? You're like doing something different.
Yeah.
It's illegal, but it's not.
Yeah.
And that's when I mean you have to think outside the box, right?
Right.
She probably doesn't have a vendetta for you. She just,
I'm sure.
yeah, she probably,
She's a scared buyer.
she's a scared buyer,
Wow.
and then someone is bickering here, an attorney.
Right,
So remember that you are a salesperson to any buyer.
right,
You're not a person, you're sales.
right,
So if you don't sell, you don't get paid. That's the way they literally
Yeah.
visualize
Yep.
you.
right,
As you're there. and
To get paid.
To get paid.
right.
And so that's when I tell you that you have to kind of establish that one-on-one. And that takes, it's like a month or 2 before you even get that.
Right.
And you have to do something like, whoa, that they're like, she really cares for me. Like I've lended buyers $95,000
Oh my God.
to close a deal.
Yeah, I heard.
That is what I'm telling you. Like there's relationships that you cannot have boundaries. You have to really think outside the box on what is making her kind of second guess why not close on this deal.
Well, to give you some insight, I think from the beginning, the house was like the listing agent said, listen, this house is as is, you're responsible for the CO, you're responsible for fire inspection. So I guess as the attorney's going over the writer with her, he's like, whoa, he's like, this is very seller friendly, but it's not anything new. So I think he's got it into her head that like, this is not acceptable. And because she feels like I'm like, but this is nothing new. She feels like, okay, then why aren't you saying the same thing the attorney's saying to me about the deal? But it's like, the house is sold as is. We have to do the CO. She's like, when you told me that you guys would take care of it, I didn't think I would have to also pay for it.
So here's like,
So I think I must have missed,
So then you could do 2 things. So there's been times where like people get so overwhelmed on how much it is to get a CO, and sometimes it could be as little as $500.
it's like $200, right? And
So then you can say, hey, listen, I know that it's a heavy load to kind of take, and you can kind of like, so you can kind of look at what your commission looks like, and then say, I am willing, I'm here to help you out and get to the finish line, and that finish line looks like this. Why don't I help you, if we get to the finish line, why don't I help you cover the CO? Or why don't I help you cover the fire?
Yep.
So you
Might be
kind of
good.
sound like a hero now.
What I've done in the past when I'm working with clients, and Scott and I just did this, right? We have an attorney, William A. Great, in Newark. We've had very difficult experiences with him, extreme. We begged the client to work with him. Apparently, the guy like saved William, our buyer's father. The father was a surgeon. They wrote an article about William A. Like they're so entrenched. So, I physically said, okay, this guy's going to sit down with the client and review the contract. I literally drove there, and I sat down in the office, and we just went at it, right? So sometimes what you could do on the phone, what I would do is I call the attorney. Before the attorney has a chance to call on the client, I say, hey, I just want to introduce myself to you. I'm the client, I've heard amazing things about you. When I know that I can't switch, I say, I've heard amazing things about you. I really appreciate, I just want to know from you, what can I do to help you have a great transaction here? What can I do to make this easier for you?
Chris, you got another question?
Yeah, what percentage of listings are you doing versus buyers?
Oh, yes.
So last year I did 19.
19
And
listings or 19 buyers?
19 listings.
Okay, and how many
And
buyers?
So that was, buyers I did more.
Okay. Would you say what
I
what would be the
did,
ratio more or
I
less?
closed 49.
Okay,
Wow.
so you're like
You did like 20?
she's like 40% list, 60% buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's all showing by yourself?
everything's by myself.
Yeah. Running.
I tried my
No
sister,
CRM.
and she also got
No
fired.
mojo. Yeah.
So what are you
How do you
doing?
keep track of everything?
I have sticky notes and my computer, I'll show it to you in a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
My computer has a bunch.
this is chaos. This
She has
okay.
sticky notes.
I love Alexandra. Don't take everything from Alexandra. That is chaos. This is chaos. Stop.
She's going 60
Just
by herself with sticky notes.
Okay. Even if she was close to 600. There are certain things this is how it works. Just because something works, do you know the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? It's really not something I adhere to. There's room for improvement, like Alexandra said.
Oh, for
She's learning
sure,
every day.
there's so much improvement that needs to get
And
done in my
Alexandra,
life.
you can see, she has so much going on. If she could, Alexandra, if you could work, let me ask you a question. If you could work, let's say 20 hours less a week, but still make the same amount of money, and your clients would still be said, would you want to do
Oh,
that?
for sure.
Okay.
The goal is that.
That's an antithesis
That's
of
the
sticky.
end goal.
Stop the sticky note crap.
So
I hate
you
this.
do
I hate.
sticky
Oh, she loves sticky. I hate sticky notes. Oh man, do I
My
hate them.
husband hates them. So
Oh,
in
I
our
go
house
crazy.
in Orange,
I hate sticky
in my
notes.
bedroom, before I fell asleep, I would put sticky notes to remind me. So I would get up and I'm like, I gotta call that client.
Oh my God, no! This is the
She'd
worst.
be like, stop that.
I set alarms on it.
I do have alarms too, but if right now my phone went off 4 times.
Mhm.
It could be a call, so I don't know what it is. So
You closed 28 buyers last year. What were you doing differently to get those offers accepted for your buyers in terms of competition?
No, she closed 30 buyers last year.
yeah.
30 buyers, 19 sellers.
What are some tips you would give for a buyer's agent that's looking to get more offers accepted? What are you doing differently that sets yourself apart from any other agent that's maybe?
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
show
good.
you this. I'm gonna throw you this one, and you'll be like, "Wow." So I'm gonna ask you, "What's your why?" Right? Because every buyer is broke, right? Even if they have 20%, they're broke because 20% out of 550 was like 108 yesterday, right? I submitted an offer, and I asked him to send me his proof of funds. I always do that now. I need to know how much money you have.
Smart.
And the reason
Smart.
why is I need to know what
Smart.
power I'm getting, right? I didn't used to
Yeah.
do that.
That
That is
was-
one thing that I did now starting COVID. I know that it might sound too personal, oh my God, I'm in your business, but I need to make your offer look amazing. Can you send me your bank statement? The most recent one. So he sent it to me. I didn't know he had 20%.
Mhm.
So when he
How do you
threw
know he's
that
telling
at
the
me,
truth?
I
Yep.
was like, wow. So okay, so he sent that to me. Okay. So then I text him and I'm like, you're short.
Yo, he's short.
I'm like, if we're waiving 10,000 and your current closing on this is like 15, 17, and you're 20%, you're short like 20. So you're now having that conversation before you submit it. You don't want to look. Remember, you
Wow. Yes.
you are
And then no.
you are your business. I know that Brendan is the brand, right? But I know Brendan wants you to
Yeah,
establish
of
your
course.
name out there.
Yes.
So it is so genuinely important that when an agent that has the experience, when you submit that offer, I've heard Nancy said, I don't even look at that offer.
Wow.
Like, it's so sad to hear that. Like, I would be so upset
Wow.
if I just took 20 minutes, and I know it takes us 5 minutes to write an offer, But sometimes it takes us 20 minutes because we have to go over it
Yep.
with that buyer, and they
Yep.
get all freaked out about all those terms.
Yep.
So,
Not even that, or even finding a house that the buyer likes.
oh my
An
God.
opportunity that they
Yes.
like.
So why would an agent say, "Hey, I'm not even gonna look at this offer because there's no POF or pre-approval"?
Correct.
Oh wow. Yep, I've heard that before.
PFF, funds, when they look at your waiving inspection or appraisal and it's not there, if you don't put the date.
If you don't read the MLS instructions.
Correct.
The
So
other.
this kind of
Correct.
things. Okay, so wait,
So-
you were saying why? Okay, so one, just want to make sure because I think what you're saying is extremely applicable. But in order to get your offer accepted, you say one, figure out their why. Why are you looking to buy a house?
Correct. So I now established that conversation. Like for that particular client, I asked them, "Why are you buying here in Jersey?" He was a referral. We just closed on your friend in Linden, but we're not gonna find nothing in Linden because Linden just went higher than what he found for 460. He was like, "Okay, can we find something?" He took me to Clifton. I'm like, "You cannot afford these things, but maybe I can take you to Union." In Union, and I show them everything they asked me for, so that I don't get red flag on that I'm steering, right? So I show them everything, and then I tell them, genuinely, I'm here for you. This is what we need to do in order to win an offer, especially in this hot market. So you need to show that you have the funds. You need to waive appraisal. You complete appraisal. You need to waive inspection. I've gotten as creative as I have funds for all my clients. I've gotten as creative. This does not leave the room, but and you do
Awesome.
not decline my.
Yeah.
But I've gotten as creative. I have an account that I generally put their funds there. Because unfortunately to say,
Very wise.
they do not, if you don't show funds,
Yep.
it does not go through. So on that deal, Vauxhall, property was at 425, we went at 475. We waived complete appraisal.
Complete.
Complete appraisal. I do study the agents. I do look who I'm working with.
Mhm.
It is a habit, right? And she was new. So she did somehow ask me for proof of funds, but she didn't realize that he didn't have all of it.
Oh, so you said to her,
So-
she sees 100, she sees six figures. She's like, "Oh, we're good."
So then I called her and I said, if we're short, so I prepare before she tells me no. If we're short, I can flip it to an FHA or a conventional 3%. I have it all figured out, all covered. We could go any route. My goal is to get you to the finish line. We did close, it did appraise, we did not have to pay out of pocket, not a penny. We waived complete inspection. I give my client $1,000 for electrical. I have an electrician that that's magical work, and he charges me, like we just did a bathroom, he charged me $400.
Oh, I need an electrician in my life.
I went changing an electrical panel, $1,200.
Oh,
What was you saying? Getting creative and getting an offer accepted when we're maxed out. Like this is what we have. We're strapped for cash.
So yeah, so like I've had buyers that unfortunately, I have like 20 buyers that they're on hold. They're on hold. We just can't do anything no more. There's nothing that you can do no more. If they don't get the picture, I have a buyer that I became a member of New Jersey.
Pilates.
It's like almost 2 hours. It's in it's like going to Atlantic City, like really really far.
A best one.
And I don't have that MLS, but I became a member of that MLS, and I said to him, I will become a member of that MLS if you're 100%. And I told him, remember, you learn as you go. That was a mistake, because that was a $450 investment that I did for nothing,
Of course. Yeah.
because I don't do business there.
Yeah.
So-
I've done this
Oh,
mistake.
was it Mom Devotion?
No. So,
No, it's a little, it's,
Even further.
yeah, it's
The
further,
point-
I'll tell you,
the
but
point-
it's like,
this is what I've learned. When it's stuff like that, like I've driven like hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, and I've done that life for many a time. I've driven an hour and a half. I drove next to Philadelphia once to show.
yeah,
you
that
guys.
is by Delaware Gap.
Yeah,
And that's because I own property there, so I was like, okay, we'll get it there.
I went there. I ended up waiting for the client for 1 hour. The client was an hour late. Then finally we get there. We do a 40-minute showing. Then it was a long showing. Long. It was a big property. It was like, over there, the properties are much cheaper.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like $1 million. But it was like, here would have cost $1 million. Anyways, I wait 40 minutes. Then I drive home another hour and a half in traffic. So an hour and a half, 3 hours, plus an hour of waiting for him because the guy was late, and then 40 minutes. So we're talking about like almost 5 hours. And although that wasn't a monetary investment, to me, I'd rather burn $1,000 than waste 5 hours of my time.
Correct.
No
So-
shot in hell am I wasting 5 hours of my time.
So so I sent a text to someone, time is so valuable, no one gives it back to you, there's no payment on it,
Yeah.
right? So keep that in mind, your time is so important.
All right, guys, we're going to call this a day. I want to give a huge round of applause to Alexandra. Appreciate you. Yes, this is good. Alexandra is awesome. If you ever are working on one of her listings and you try to play games, you will die. And we'll look out for you, Alexandra.